Welcome to The Hero Maker. In this series, we follow Richard's appearances on other shows as he talks about how to grow, play, think, and live like a hero. Join him as he discusses thoughts, principles, and life lessons, all essential for anyone building their heroic brand. All that and more only on The Hero Maker.
So
Absolutely.
tell me a little bit about how business was going before the crazy, stupid, I'm going to continue to call it the stupid COVID crisis because I feel like it is stupid.
It totally is a stupid COVID crisis. I agree with you on that.
So how was business going?
Business was going well. We were sort of on an upward trajectory, and we're pushing the Push Button podcast up. We had just taken on a new client there. And I was working on trying to figure out how my main, helping brands build their stuff sort of fit into it. And I was almost to where we are now. But I had a couple of clients that once the COVID crisis happened, they were on the sort of the brand side, and we were getting some stuff done and getting them taken, getting things going up. And the crisis hit. And two of those clients had to cancel their contracts with us, right? And that's not any fault of ours or theirs, or it's just, the situation is what it is. And they're like, hey, we have to focus our resources here in order to deal with the crisis. So we lost two contracts for that. And for an agency like ours that's not that big and we serve a couple of clients at a high level, losing two contracts is a big deal. So I had already started to get a couple of questions from my workers who are a little bit worried, how are we going to survive? Is this going to be good for us? Are we still going to be able to grow? All right. And in the first couple of weeks, it didn't happen. But once we get 4 or 5 weeks into the crisis and, everyone's under quarantine and they can't go grocery shopping and all this stuff is happening, you start to get those worried messages we communicate on Slack, right? On Slack. As a newly founded CEO with team members, I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this yet. But that's sort of where it started at the beginning of the crisis.
Yeah, because that's true. You've had an agency for several years, but this is the first year you've actually brought in workers. So this was a whole new hurdle for you that is you're used to taking care of you and your family and worrying about that, but now you've got a whole different aspect to worry about. So how'd that feel?
Yeah. So it's kind of bittersweet, right? So 2018, I had no staff. It was just me. 2019, by the end of the year, I had three, right? I had 3 staff members other than myself. So there was 4 families that were being fed off of the work that we were doing, which is really cool. And so one of those things that was really cool to me is we just did our taxes for April. You have to total everything up. And I have a bit of a photographic memory, not totally photographic, but I remember how much I paid in taxes for since I started paying taxes.
Why would you want to remember that?
I can't not remember it. Got them all submitted and whatnot. And my the amount of money we paid to employees this year was twice that of what I actually made in entirety my first year of marriage to my wife 11 years ago, which was a really big win for me, right?
It's a very big win.
Yeah, so I paid more to employees this year than I made in my first year of marriage. So I was like, that's a cool place to be in. But it also means that we have families that are relying on that income to continue happening. So that was where I was at in the business. I was like, we lost a couple of clients, and I have been in the mode of how do we use what's going on to grow, right? As the great Warren Buffett says, buy when there's blood in the streets, right? And that's the idea essentially is that when everyone else is afraid and not taking action, that's when the best opportunities are available.
So very true.
So that's what I've been working on over the past couple of weeks, is finding just different ways to interact with people, right? We've got a couple of things that we've got going really well for our business. One, that we have great relationships with our existing clients. So I just put out some feelers to see if there's any interest in new business, and got a couple of referrals back. And I actually had one of the referrals was, and this is actually a cool point for people who are looking to grow in a scarcity economy. And which is sort of what we're living in. I had a referral come in, and he reached out to me and he was like, hey, we've got a problem with our website, which is not in our typical wheelhouse of our main services that we offer. They're like, we have a problem with our website. we're having this particular problem with an e-commerce thing. We've spent like 6 months trying to figure this out. We can't get our product launched because of this one problem, and we spent a lot of money with a lot of people to get it. And I was like, I can solve that in like an hour for them. So I messaged him. And we talked for a little while, got on the phone, and he told me what the problem was, and I was like, yeah, just send me over the details and I'll get it fixed for you. And so that afternoon, before like we even finished with the day, right, I went into his stuff, fixed it all up, and sent it all back to him. And he was like, holy hell, like, it's done. And they went to the next day. They're like able to launch their product, and they've made like they've made several $1,000s already in recurring sales from the stuff that we did. And he messaged me back. He's like, "What do I owe you for that?" And I was like, honestly, the first one's on the house kind of thing. It's just, I want to prove to you that I do good work, that our team can do good work. And I was like, I've told you what it is that we offer. If you're interested in more things, let me know. Right. And I just left it at that. And he messaged me back later that day, and he was like, where do I sign kind of thing? He's like, because he's like, you obviously know what you're doing, and you can help our team with all these things. And because of that, we did the same thing. He actually had, he had a referral right away. He's like, I've got another person who's like, I'm working with as a consultant, and he's like, everyone else that I've referred them to has failed them. So can I refer them to you? And close the second contract. So 2 contracts in like 48 hours. And then separately, we had another one that had come in from our mastermind that we do on the Black Letter Mastermind. Our good friend Liana, who you may have heard on this podcast before, sent over a message to me. She was like, "Hey, this guy over here is looking for a specific stuff that I think would fall in your wheelhouse, because you guys do all the editing for podcasts and everything." They were looking for some specific video editing services and wanted to turn that into something that they could just get done on a regular basis. And so I messaged him, and I was like, hey, this isn't something we do yet, but I could see it fitting really nicely into our existing processes. If you'll send me a script for what you want, I'll see what we can get back. And he was like, sure, cool. And he sent me over a script. And then we actually made 5 different videos for him based on that script, hired the talent, did all the things, and made 5 videos for him, right? It cost me probably about 40 hours in labor from my staff, and then maybe $150 or so in materials and stuff that we purchased to get all the assets in place, and then we returned it back to them. And they were like, "This is freaking phenomenal. How much do we owe you for them?" And I was like, first ones are free. If you guys want to turn it into a regular thing, let me know. And so I was like, I don't have the processes for this in place, but it's something that if you guys want to experiment with me, which I'm sure you're familiar with that, I do that regularly whenever I want to launch a new service. I'll take a client on and be like, hey, here's what if you guys want to experiment with me and make sure, let me bang my processes out with you guys, we can go forward with that. And so we learned a whole bunch through the first little process on what kind of assets we need to get from them. And how the service would work and what the costs would be, and actually talk a little bit back and forth with them about how much they'd be willing to spend for something like that and what kind of turnaround times they would really like to see. And we sort of nailed that all into the systems and processes for it, and turned that into a contract with them. And the other thing that's cool about that is these guys are super, super big. And I'm not going to say their name at this point because I haven't got the permission to, but they're like really, really big in the advertising space. And they were like, literally every one of our students would use this service because we tell them to get this stuff done all the time and nobody can get it done. She was like, if this will work over the next couple of months with you, if you can build up the systems for it, we can send you a ton of business. I just made your podcast explicit. We'll have to ding it out. But anyways, the point is we were using this time where everyone's sort of in crisis and doing things that a lot of businesses who are operating out of fear, saying, I have to make money now, saying, how can I flip that script? How can I say, let me do something unexpected and different that really shows that we can deliver for someone, so that when they come back and they're like, I actually need to get this done in my business, they're not questioning, can this person do it? Are they going to be able to return results? Any of the things that stop someone from saying yes, we've just removed all of those because we've delivered ahead of time.